Welcome everyone to Aeon Presents Lynn Juggernauts. Today we have a very special guest for you. My name is Jennifer Nakhai, and I'm the founder of Aeon Counseling and Consulting. And this podcast specifically prioritizes and amplifies people in our community, particularly those impacted by racism, homophobia, transphobia, police brutality, and other forms of injustice or trauma. Today we have Sergio Espinoza,
Thank you for
extraordinaire.
having me.
Yes, 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 yes.
Hi, everyone.
We make sure that we have the right view, and we are in this view. I guess people are just gonna look at you for now. We're using a
Okay.
different computer today. Anyway, um, a little bit about what we're going to be talking today is We Serve Safely, which is a company in Lynn. And I know we've been prioritizing talking to business owners as we want to demonstrate some of the strongest folks in our community. Sergio is a food service consultant. He's the founder of We Serve Safely, and it's a food service consulting firm in Lynn that I know has been working on a bunch of super cool restaurants. I know Lynn has some of the best food in general in life. And so thank you so much for working on this for us, because I know we like to go out and eat good food, but tell us a little bit more
Yes.
about your company and what you've been working on.
Yeah, so I mean, I have to agree with that fact. I mean, Lynn has some amazing food. I mean, I'm really fortunate to be in Lynn and to be doing what I'm doing because, I get to see that growth. A lot of cool restaurants that have a really rich history as to how they came about. Um, and in reality, it kind of goes with what, our company exists to do, which is to give entrepreneurs, a lot of first time on restaurant entrepreneurs, the guidance to be able to open up a restaurant, a food service establishment, really, because where there's a commercial kitchen, comes a lot of regulations, a lot of hurdles, a lot of items that we help out with. We try to make sure that our clients are as prepared as possible to enter that space of entrepreneurship, especially within the food service realm.
I know your position is important because you bring this bilingual, bicultural view of
Hmm.
food to the culture of Lynn, and then amplifying so many other cultures when you do that. I really enjoy what you do, and I love that there's like a social justice component to your job, and that you do a good amount of advocacy for these establishments that maybe don't have the strongest voices to advocate for themselves to begin with.
Hmm.
So tell me a little bit
Yeah.
more about your experience around that. I've seen you in action. I see you all the time in city council. Hmm.
Yeah, I've worked in a lot of restaurants. I managed for 10 years. And during my time, I realized, as a Latino, I was one of the only Latinos around that was in a management position. A lot of Latinos, make that restaurant function. We're in the kitchens, we're cleaning off the tables, we're taking the orders, we're doing a lot of the things that a worker bee does, but we're never quite the owner. So when I started realizing that there was a real need for all this information that I had gathered over the years, about how to sustain, operate, and even open a business, um, I knew that I could combine the two things that I loved, which was food and, you know, really trying to impact my community. I wanted to
Food and
give
business.
a, huh?
Food and business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I mean, it's scary going into business, let alone going into a food business that has such a high failure rate. I wanted to give, the little guy that chance. I wanted to be able to share everything I knew and be able to fight for them.
I
Which
have
is something
seen
that
you.
I've learned to do now with having to deal with the city. Who knew? Who knew I would somehow get wrapped involved in politics? By simply wanting to do simple things like open up a patio. I mean, I dealt with that when I was in the city of Framingham back when I was just a manager. And I remember how hard it took to open up the patio and how long of a process it took. And we still didn't end up doing it. And I had the backing of a huge corporation. Now imagine, your mom and pop, restaurant that's just trying to maybe expand or trying to have the restaurant for the first time. I've been blessed to have, the privilege of knowing both languages. A lot of my clients, their primary language is something else, Spanish, Portuguese,
Portuguese.
and I have the language of tiptoeing between both sides. Not only am I, knowledgeable about what it is that, that we're doing, but, I can also say it without having to double think my words. I can say it freely, and I can, communicate my clients' visions over to the city, because many times the people in power, they don't know the difference between, you know, certain procedures of food. Try explaining ceviche to somebody that's never had it before in their lives. It can be a little difficult, so I kind of
Yeah,
try to
sounds
make that
weird.
bridge.
Raw fish sounds weird, but we
Yeah,
love
I mean, oh yeah, I mean, even like tortillas, special styles or nixtamal, it's hard. People sometimes can't grasp it, but when we submit paperwork, sometimes we have to simplify things. Anything that's like wrapped together, I just call an empanada. It's just to be
it.
able to relate that.
That is true.
Um,
We do love that too.
yeah,
Mm, mm.
so that's a big part of, what we do is we're there to, I don't want to like to say hold their hands, but we're there to, be that support system for our clients, when they're, especially when they're dealing with government, especially when they're dealing with landlords, especially where they're dealing with situations where anybody can feel vulnerable. There's a lot of people that, have opened one or two restaurants, and it's still, you're putting yourself in a very vulnerable state, having to go in front of city council and not knowing what kind of questions they could be. Sometimes it could be as easy as just showing up and saying yes, present, and then that's it. But sometimes they could drill you with a lot of questions that you may not be prepared for. So that's my job. I make sure that we're prepared and
Yeah.
make sure we're set and to know all the regulations and all the rules, and make sure that that's the last thing my client needs to worry about. Make sure that they're worried about the food, the service, the guest, what decorations they want to put on the wall. We take care of all that logistical stuff.
And so a business owner would hire you, and I know we've talked about this, but a business owner usually hires you not for their first restaurant, because I know people usually feel like their first business, I know what I'm doing and I'm going to do it correctly. But why, what are the advantages of hiring a food service consultant, and why does it save you all the money?
Yeah, you know, I actually have gotten a lot of first timers now. I think because of the fact that we've worked with people that are referring us over, their friends, would recommend us because it's advantageous. I mean, even if you've opened two restaurants, this year alone, we're already on our sixth one. In the last 2 years, we've done over 15 restaurants in different counties, different cities and towns. So um, I like to say that, we're not we're not exactly an economic thing to hire, but when you really, consider time as an expense, we save a bunch of time and we minimize those errors, because we can tell you what to look forward to. We can tell you what those, inspections a couple months from now are going to look like. I can tell you, based off my experience, what kind of design, what are some things that you should, what kind of equipment you should be purchasing. We just take a lot of that experience, not only just since the company existed, but even working with equipment and, being in operations for years. I can tell you, you know, some of the expenses that you might have in the long term. So I always like to say the example, flooring, something that you may never really think about, we put this like super abrasive flooring whenever we do remodels, because I've had people slip on the floors when it's busy. Servers slip, glassware goes all over the place, somebody gets cut, you know, and as a business owner, you pay for that. You know, you pay for that cut, you pay for that ching chong in your head, you know, and that's dangerous. You know, besides
You
from
don't,
the
you
looking
better
at from a
get,
safety standpoint,
yeah.
yeah, as a business owner, that's money coming out of your pocket. So I'd like to say, in one lawsuit, you definitely paid for our services.
In just one lawsuit, look at that. It's cheaper to hire you than have a lawsuit. Um, but so do you, I mean, I'm guessing that one of the things that you would help people with, because it sounds like your job incorporates a lot as far as like restaurant startups and working with old and new restaurants, I'm sure franchises as well. And it sounds like everything from obtaining liability insurance to negotiating a commercial lease, you can help out just because this is what you do, right? You've done it so many times.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
exactly. I mean, I like to be able to, you know, offer some advice. You know, I don't do insurance, but I definitely know what you should be protecting yourself against.
and do
You
you know
know,
the
like
guy
I
who can
say,
sell you the insurance?
huh?
Do you know the guy who can sell you the insurance?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. Then there you go.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So, and I mean, those are, you know, I try to absorb as much as I can from the trusted vendors that I'm accustomed to working with, because certain things that, you know, in the past I would have never really thought about, and now I just make sure that, you know, we're 100% all set. Because, you know, again, I've in the 3 years that we've been in business, you know, you'd be surprised the amount of, you know, situations that could have been saved with good insurance. um
Yeah.
yeah, it could have helped out a lot, you know. So we try to make sure that we're ahead of the game. You know, we try to make sure that we're preparing our clients as much as possible, you know.
So speaking of your clients, let's dive in. A few of the questions that I had for you today, because you are one of the few folks that I know who has sustained a successful business during COVID and has been able to not just exist but like flourish. There's a very unfortunate side to this whole pandemic where a few of us, our businesses just kind of exploded, right? You're in the business of people being sad, or you're in the business of people wanting to open new businesses. And a lot of folks decided after being laid off that they would start a new business and that they would invest their capital in these types of situations. So I've not only seen the disastrous side of all of this, but also the very beautiful side of, look at how we've pivoted, look at how we've all grown or not. I feel like some people
Mhm.
either pressed on or just fell back. And so where do you see right now, where's the temperature, where's the pulse of the Lynn business owners, and what are some of your recommendations? Um, it sounds like this is a good time to open up a restaurant startup, especially if you have access to the outside.
You know, I want to say it's a good time if you are looking to open up a specific kind of restaurant. So if you're looking for a restaurant that is, you know, fast casual or prepared foods, very heavy takeout, and like that's exactly what you're designing and you're building your whole business model around. Yeah, I mean, it's a great time. I mean, you could get, you know, unfortunately, because there's been so many restaurant closures, you could get a location for super cheap. You know, opportunities have really opened up for a lot of people looking to get into the industry. Um, because right now, even when you're going into lease negotiations, the tenant really is empowered. Because if you're a landlord, you know, the fact that one person comes around looking to rent your restaurant, you may not get another bite for months.
Yeah.
You know, it's not many people here that are really looking to get into it. Um, but if you are looking to get a cocktail bar, 150 seats, that's not a good time. I mean, you know,
Even
that's the wrong
establishments
it's the
now.
wrong move.
But
Yeah.
it's important for people to always be thinking about a plan B, because I know when this whole thing hit, even though, for example, my business is an essential business, we had to figure it out, and we had to figure it out quick. how to keep
Hmm.
ourselves safe, how to keep everybody else safe, but also providing life-saving services. So I know in Salem and in Lynn and in Boston how a lot of these restaurants use that time off to rebuild and reinvest into their restaurants. And so, what are some of your recommendations? And where do you feel the emotions are for the folks coming in? Do you think that they're nervous? Is it working with you? What is it like working with you, essentially? Do people come
Yeah.
to you
So
when they're at their wits' end, or do they come to you when they're still healthy and sane, and then they're going to start opening a restaurant and then they lose it? What is the what's the order of that?
well, let's start with the first question, which is like, what should people be doing? I mean, if you're remodeling a restaurant, you should be, putting in a takeout window. You should be developing a takeout station. You should be putting in a hot warming box to keep the food, the takeout food, hot while it's getting while it's you're waiting for it to get picked up. Those are some things that you want to make sure you do. If you're remodeling to get more tables and seats in there, I mean, sure, but it's not really. Before COVID, it was already known, and the growth of takeout was increasing. If you look at most restaurants, especially the large restaurants, they were developing takeout. Nobody was trying to convince you to come in. They were trying to convince you to go on their app and order online so you can pick
Yes.
it up. You know, I mean, Uber Eats in general, as much as some people may, look at Uber as a company that's taking advantage. I mean, they've implemented these ghost kitchens that are really like opening the doors for a lot of food entrepreneurs, to be able to get in the door. There's companies like Reef that are out of a bunch of different major cities that are have these ghost kitchens available where you can rent it by the month. It's already equipped. You don't gotta build. You don't even have to buy equipment. It's already there. You just gotta show up with your deposit, your menu, and your delivery. Sometimes if you're ordering off of the Uber Eats Ghost Kitchen, your delivery is taken care of as well. You just prepare the food and you put it on the Uber Eats menu, and that's it. You pick it up. Like that is the threshold that's really coming out right now. So I think it was actually one of my goals to get a commissary kitchen in Lynn in the next few years, and it still is, because that's probably the biggest challenge for a lot of my clients, especially the ones that don't have that heavy capital. You know, do you don't have the money to do a full build out, and of course you could do a food truck, you do a food trailer, but you still need that brick and mortar to be able to prepare. So I think you know a lot of people should be investing their money into figuring out to see if your food business is going to work. um, as far as like existing businesses, you got to make sure that takeout works. Takeout is not going anywhere. I always look at it whenever we do any brick and mortar, we break it down into how can we expand the business within this space, right? So, all right, we have the kitchen, we have the seats, great, we're gonna feed people and then they sit down and eat, right? That's a traditional way. Next is how are we gonna make sure that this kitchen produces more revenue? We do takeout, right? Can't seat any more people than the seats that we have, so we go takeout. So how do we make more money off of that? We start doing catering. Like we do
Yeah.
catered boxes, and then we start doing catering on the weekends, right? And then how do we grow off of that? We do a food truck. Everything comes from the heart of the restaurant, which is the kitchen. So even when we design based on making sure that kitchen is able to grow. So if I had to take a restaurant that originally had 50 seats and give it 20 to make it a bigger kitchen, I'm going for that. That's the recommendations I'm giving my clients. Because if you have 30 extra seats, you're not going to make the more money compared to having the ability to produce
Yeah.
more takeout, to produce catering, to produce production for a food truck. It's just when you look at it that way, those additional 30 seats really don't seem that intelligent You know, you want to make sure that that kitchen is as large as possible and you can grow with it, because these projects are not cheap. You know, these are not cheap construction projects, not cheap equipment. You can, you know.
So for the folks looking to start their food business or any business at all, this is part of the consulting portion of what we do, but what would you say right now is the percentage of how important it is to have a fully functioning website, either for people to order through or for you to be known, stuff like that? Because I know that saved my business. And thank goodness that I set up a website last year, not knowing that this was going to happen. We had a cute one that I made, but then I paid a professional to make me something that made sense. Because I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not a website developer. I'm not. I went to school for something totally different. So is it important right now to invest in these types of things?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would want to say, like, you know, it's important uh, to be up to date on your technology, you know, because am I going to say a website's better than an app? I'd probably say go with the one that everybody has in their hands. You know, I think it's important for you to be up to date with technology, you know, depending on how your clientele is able to reach you. You know, is most of your clientele going to be on Instagram? Are they going to be, you know, ordering off of your own personal app? Are they, you know, is most of your marketing going to be in like the Facebook area? Like, you know, those things are so important, because, you know, when's the last time you tried to, like, you know, look for something to eat or even look up the number to a place and you didn't put it on Google? Never. You know, we use Google for anything and everything. You know, Google tells us where to eat, pinpoints us to what we like to do. You
Yeah.
know, you have to be able to, you know, be in the presence of these huge huge marketing tools. And you know, if a website puts you there, great. But then don't stop there. You know, you have to make sure that you're easily accessible. You know, I've actually I now that with COVID, um, you know, we're forced to look at a menu on our phone, right?
Yeah.
But how great is it to, like, know exactly what you want to eat and not have to waste time figuring out and, like, all right, how am I going to do this? You know, like, those are things that as a restaurant we try to, you know, it's important to us, because if we have clients who don't know what to order, they don't know what they want, it slows the whole process down. You know, I don't know if you've ever served before, but, you know, as a former server, the last thing you want is an indecisive person that, you know, is like, I don't know what I want. You know, what's your favorite thing on the menu? You know, like, every second counts. You know, every second counts. You know, every
That's like me.
footstep counts. As a server, we're juggling tables, we're juggling running food, we're juggling processing payments, we're juggling a lot of things. So right now, this is, you know, this is the route that a lot of people are going, using technology, which is great. You know, it's, you know, Microsoft a long time ago, you know, years ago, had this thing called the Microsoft table. I believe that was the name. Not that creative, but it was in a big, look, think of it like a huge iPad that just went over, and it was a table. You could eat, you could order off the table. It had a little sensor on the table that where you could put your glass over it. So you could put your glass over the sensor and it would tell whether your drink is going low. So it would notify your server to replenish your beverage. So these are, you know, these are things that uh, people are trying to go towards, you know. And right now, something simple like the menu will help promote a lot of people to be able to use technology more. You know,
Do you see any
I'm a big
drawbacks
advocate
to
of,
it?
what was that?
Do you see any drawbacks to using
I mean,
technology so
that
much?
addiction to that phone, to your phone, you know, like being more dependent. Now you're ordering off your phone, you
I
know,
know every single
being a
time
little
that I've gone out,
disconnected.
everyone's just like, "Ah, we have to get it on the phone." You get at least
Yeah.
one
And
big
I
comment
mean,
like, "Ah, why?"
yeah. And some people are still like want the physical menu. I think that's great. I think we have, you know, I feel it's just like when we walk into a restaurant, and if the restaurant looks beautiful and we're just like, "Ooh, this place must be good." When we look at a menu, we're judging it. A
Yeah.
menu has a certain level of marketing,
Yes.
to it, the texture of how it feels, how big it is, like, you
Mhm.
know, what is it framed in? It kind of gives us like a sense of like, wow, this place really has their things together. The food could suck, and
Yeah.
you already have like a set expectation. So yeah, the app does kind of diminish from that. Um, but I'm a person, but most people, again, we do takeout not because we want to, not because we want to have like a gourmet meal on the go. We just don't have time. So when we can save a little bit of time, we try to go down that route. I'm a person too that likes to just order. We know what we want to eat. I go look at a menu. I take into consideration that server's time. If he's coming showing up 3 to 4 times to the table because one person doesn't know what they want to eat, I take a little initiative and I try to say, hey, let's get this order in, because I want to make sure that my food gets there in time. I want to make sure that I'm if there's a little bit of help that I could do to make the service experience better, I'm going to try to go down that route. But technology could definitely help us do that, and like you said, I mean, how important is it to have a website? Super important. Yeah, but don't stop there though. The website's just simply like,
Right.
that entry point. You have to take it as like an entry point. Technology, has already revolutionized the way that we, buy food, eat food, order food. It's here to stay. Whether you see it or you don't, like it's here. It's why, you know, you have food cost, why you can get chicken at 99 cents a pound. That's technology. It's not because chickens got cheaper. It's because we can, produce
Is it because
and
they're just having us eat chicken parts, chicken meal? Is it mostly the chicken meal? Um,
yeah, I mean, oof, chicken
but like
is,
what I'm
yeah,
hearing you
chicken's a whole
say,
nother topic.
right? We could go into that whole Purdue thing. Ugh. Uh,
Yeah.
what I'm hearing you say is that technology, even though it's costing us our mental health a little bit, it's
Yeah.
also been instrumental in our evolution because has allowed us to have a contactless or less contact society. I know in my industry, again, saved my whole business. Had I not had the ability to provide telehealth to people in different states, to people in different parts of Massachusetts, had we had to remain open in a city like Lynn, where it's been a hotspot since it started, um, I would have put myself, my staff, and our clients at risk, and that wasn't an option. So telehealth just kind of magically, we had it before. It wasn't the most popular item that we had, but we were offering it, and some people who live far away could do it. But suddenly our doors opened electronically to thousands of more people immediately as soon as
Yeah.
we did the switch. So
I
sounds
agree. I
good
mean,
and it sounds bad. Any
yeah.
other last remarks of, how people can contact you or, if you had to give them one piece of advice to move forward, to inspire folks to have a business, to open their own business, even if they're not at the point of calling you just yet, what would it be?
I would probably say my one piece of advice would just would honestly be to, you know, be open and be studious. I feel like something that you asked me earlier, how do people come to me? People come to me with a lot of confidence. They know their food is going to be amazing, right? And so many amazing, delicious restaurants have failed, to operate as a business. So, you have to remain humble and you have to be studious because, the food industry is constantly changing. So, you know, sometimes be very blunt and say, why don't you try try going in for a supervisory position at a franchise restaurant. Those restaurants have some of the best systems in the world. They
Mm,
spent thousands, millions of dollars in, how to create the best operation possible, whether you like their food or not.
right.
Learn from them. Learn from them and then absorb that and take it into your business. So be a good student is definitely the best advice I can tell you. Be a good student and never stop studying, because food is ever evolving. And you know, if you don't keep up, it's going to leave you in the dust.
Ooh, that is powerful. I mean, that applies to my business as well, because I try to tell the therapists who come to work for us or who apply to work with us that you might be great at establishing rapport with a person, but it doesn't mean that you've had the background in business, right? How do you negotiate a price? How do you set a price? How do you make it fair? How do you collect? What kind of systems do you need for all that tracking? What does payroll look like? These are things that we didn't learn in grad school for therapy,
Hmm.
but that's where the consulting piece comes from, and it did take extra learning for that, for sure. So I love those words. Él está disponible en español también. Si alguien tiene alguna pregunta, se puede comunicar con nosotros para eso. Um, what is the best way to reach you?
The best way to reach me is either via email or call me. Just call me directly. Send me a message on WhatsApp. WhatsApp is my favorite work tool. I never used WhatsApp until I started my business. It was my
That's true. I
clients that
only
got me
have a
into it, and
professional
I
WhatsApp. I don't even use
love
it.
WhatsApp.
Yeah. I don't even use it for
Love
personal
it.
stuff. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably very opposite to most people, I guess, with WhatsApp. I'm 90% business, 10% casual stuff, like when I'm looking at my WhatsApp message, when it goes off, I'm like, all right, I got to pick it up because it's probably
Yeah.
a client, it's probably something to do with the business. So the best way to reach me is just give me a call, 860-490-5888, and my email address is actually right here on the screen, right here.
We'll
S
also make
period.
it bigger. Our magical team will also make it bigger. If you have questions for the show, or you feel like you want to participate and feature your business, you can always reach us at Get Aeon Help. That's GETAEONHELP at gmail.com. And thank you, Sergio, for coming on board. Thank you for being who you are and advocating for businesses that I
Yeah.
love, that I have seen you in action. And so that's why I consider you a juggernaut more than anything, is because you
Thank you. Thank
you
you.
do the right thing even when people, when people are not looking, or you're not expecting people to be watching. You're always doing the right thing. So thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
and stay tuned for our next episode.